To all those who thought I was done talking about mental health, please listen up because I will not be silent on this topic. This is a topic that needs to be discussed. There are so many going through this, so many dealing with this, and so many that don't know how to come forward and deal with any of these situations. If I can do my little part of having an episode come out weekly, have my own series to hopefully help at least one person out by situations that I've been through from some firsthand experience and other guests I may have in the future that have experiences, then I will definitely continue to do my part. I will not be silent. I will keep speaking on this, for it is important, and it is important to me. Please enjoy today's lesson on mental health, and please check on your people always. Never know what they are going through. Be blessed.
What is going on? What is going on? What is going on? Welcome back to this week's installment on mental health, man. Now, whether it is morning, whether it's afternoon, whether it's evening, whether it is nighttime, no matter what time of day it is that you're listening to this, day or night rather, I need you to do one thing. I need you to check on your people, man. I need you to check on your people. So, this week's topic, honestly, when it comes to mental health, it's real easy for me to speak on, only because real time is what I'm going through myself. It's that time of year when the kids are going back to school, and you look at your kids and you realize how much they're growing. And it just dawns on you how fast time flies. I tell you what, man, for us, my wife and I, we have, our oldest is a freshman in high school. A freshman in high school. When you remember, like, yesterday when they were born, when you remember, like, yesterday when they were just learning how to walk and talk and saying the first few words, it just dumbfounds you that a freshman in high school, 4 years from now, you're going to be graduating high school. Our youngest, 5th grade, she's going to 5th grade this year. And it's the same thing, man. You listen to how old they are, and you see how big they're growing, and it's a few things that you hope. One, you hope that you're instilling the right things in them. You're instilling, you're instilling your trust in God. You're instilling the Bible. You're instilling good principles. Raising them up to be, young gentlemen and young ladies, And the other part that you think about is you think in the past of all the things that you wanted to do with them and you just weren't able to, whether it's been because of work or funds and so on and so forth. And you realize that you really don't have too much time to make a lot of those things happen. And it frustrates you. It's something that you dwell on. I know for me and me personally, I think about what we've done. Last few years, kids have started doing sports, being able to be at every last one of their events, when it comes to sports, school, anything of that nature. I'm not even going to lie to you, man. It's been tough doing that. It's been tough being there. It's been tough being present. Especially, like, fall sports always falls. Fall and spring are my busiest 2 seasons, being self-employed. And that's the 2 seasons that they play. But then when I go back and look at it, I can sit here and say, you know what, I was present. And I just pray to God that one day they can see that their parents were there for them at all times. I go to these games and everything for them, and I don't know how many times I've seen a kid just there and their parent couldn't make it for whatever reason. And I sit here and think what they might be thinking, my mom or my dad, they had to work, so they couldn't be in my game. You kind of applaud them that they at least got them into the sport, but you actually feel for them. A lot of people just pass judgment and say, oh, well, that parent didn't show up. Shame on them. You gotta understand that it's a juggling act being a parent, and sometimes you have to work. You have to be able to provide. So I know as I'm looking back on all the things that we've done so far and the things I really am driven to try and do within the next, within the future. I'm not even going to put a time frame on, but within the future, within the near future, rather. I tell you what, though, I am tired. I am sick and tired. Only reason why I say that is because being in public schools, it's a lot that goes on nowadays. It's a lot of influences there, a lot of negative influence. So you just gotta hope that as parents, that we're raising our kids, setting the right example each and every day, raising them right to where when they're without you, they can make their own choices, wise choices at that. But one thing I'll always say is one of the toughest and most rewarding jobs in the world is being a parent. It's tough when you actually want to be good at it. Let me say that again for the people in the back. It's tough when you want to excel at it, when you want to be great at it, when you want your kids to be like, I love my mom, I love my dad. When you're actually trying, when you're putting your best foot forward at all times, it's one of the toughest jobs in the world, but it's also one of the most rewarding jobs, man. I love being a dad. This is my favorite job, man, being a dad. But what I mean by it being one of the toughest jobs, or being the toughest job, is you have to instill what you can into your kids and still not handhold them the whole way. Allow them to grow up just like we were allowed to grow up coming up. It's tough in the world we live in today to do that. I remember when we were kids, we were able to roam the whole neighborhood, ride bikes, everything, so on and so forth. Nowadays, it just doesn't seem like it's that way at all. It's also tough because when you're trying to be good at it, and sometimes, especially I know in my situation as a business owner, one thing that frustrates me is being that business owner who owns a seasonal business, to where there's some seasons that are slow, cash flow's not where you want it to be, and there's certain things that you cannot do with the kids that you love to do. Like I know for me, our kids, they get winter break and they get summer break. Well, guess what the two slowest times of the year are for my business? Winter and summer. So you tell me how that doesn't affect someone's mental health, how that doesn't make someone upset, feel like they're not doing enough or even doing right for their kids. I'm gonna tell you right now, I know for me, I don't plan to stay in that same position all the time. I plan to make changes because I'll be doggone if we lose the time with our kids and they grow up and go like, well, every summer we didn't do anything. Every winter break we didn't do anything because, daddy's business was slow and we weren't able to do anything. That makes me feel a certain way, man. It really does. And I'm sorry. I can't go out like that. I can't go down like that. I refuse to do that. I'm telling you right here, right now, I'm always going to go out swinging, man. How I just said our son is a freshman in high school. That's 4 years. 4 years. I cannot believe it's 4 years before he is graduating. Our daughter starting 5th grade. She's right around the corner herself. The most crazy thought that most of us don't think about is with our kids until they're adults, we literally get 18 birthdays, 18 Christmases, 18 of every holiday. Really 17, because when they're 18, they're an adult. But we'll go with 18. It is the craziest thought when you think about it like that, because that time flies. Everybody always says that as parents. Time flies, time flies, time flies. Well, guess what? It does, man. It does. And you hear me over here getting passionate about this because it is quite the thought when you're sitting here like, when you see your kids grow and you realize that more than half of those 18 years is already gone. And you sit here and you reflect and you go, did I do that right? Did I do this right? Man, I'm happy to say I can look back and say I've done my best the whole entire time. A lot of people can't say that. But is my best good enough to keep moving forward in the future? I'll be the first to also tell you the answer to that is no. 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 That is not how I plan to move forward. I refuse to move forward with the same excuse of, let me just stay where I'm at and just stay mediocre. No, man. I'm always going to be the guy to sit here and say my family deserves the best. So that means they deserve the best me. So I'll be doggone. I'm going to go out here and serve some piss poor effort when it comes to how I tackle everything. I refuse, man. I'm working harder now than I feel like I have since I've been full-time in the business, and I've had some hard days. When we first started out, we were 6 days a week working, man, like 14-hour days, all 6 of those days. And I feel like I'm working harder now than I was then. Physically, not as hard am I working, but mentally, I'm working harder than I've ever worked, because I'm always trying to come up with ways to increase the income to where I can do things, to where the family can do things. At the same time as increasing the income, I'm looking for ways to increase the income while increasing my time with my loved ones. And that is a lot of work. But you know what? My family worth that type of work. They worth that type of effort. Because we only have so much time, right? We only have so much time before our kids grow into adults and they're off, being adults and starting their own families. Yeah, we can keep saying we're young, we're young, we're young. I'm 35 years old, man, and I still remember it like yesterday when I was graduating from high school. You snap your fingers and I'm 35 years old. Married to the same woman out of high school, man. Out of high school. 15 years last year, 16 years this year, married. 2 kids, 2 wonderful kids. I'm full-time in a business. Time flies, man. Sometimes mentally you wake up and you go, I'm not where I like to be. But you heard what I just did there? I did that for context. I just reflected on where I was and where I am today. Sometimes when you're in those moments where you're looking at your kids, you're looking at your spouse, and you're going, I should be doing better. I should be providing a better life. Yes, you go ahead and motivate yourself like that, but at the same time, you reflect on where you were and where you've come from and where you're going. Don't just shoot yourself down and say, oh my gosh, I suck at life. I'm not doing anything right. Trust me, I've had plenty of those moments. So I'm not perfect. I can relate to y'all. I'm here in this with y'all, man. Just know. Trust, man. Trust. That's what I'm going to keep saying. Trust that everything will get better as long as you're putting in the effort to it. As long as you're putting your faith in God, praying about it, man. Prayer heals everything. I've been in situations in the past month where God has brought me through when it looked like there was no way possible. Oh my goodness. There was a couple times where it didn't look like there was a way possible. And I was brought through it, man. So you know, man, kids are going back to school. They're growing fast. I'm going to celebrate this. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh man, I should have did this, I should have did that. Yes, that is how I feel when it comes to certain things. But you know what? I'm in solution mode. What's the solution to that? The solution to that is doing better now so that moving forward, there are things that we can do. Make sure you ain't out there grinding and not having any type of reward for it. But that's my little 2 cents worth for this week, man. I'm going to say the same things I say every week, man, because it is beyond important. Check on your people, man. You got to check on your people. You got to ask them, how they doing? How they feeling? How's their mental? Are they doing all right? Is there anything you can do for them? Then ask how they're feeling again, because sometimes people aren't going to answer you that first time. Ask them how they are, man. Check on your people. I'm amazed by the amount of people that will not check on their folk. You got to. Especially your parents, man. The people who are parents in your circle that are parents, that have kids. Check on them. Make sure they're doing all right. Back to school is coming. It's a stressful time for many to try and come up with some funds to cover their kids' stuff, man. To get them some clothes, to get them some school supplies. If you know somebody is going through some stress with that and you're able to help them out, please bless them. Help them out. And don't make them feel guilty that you're helping them out. Because there are so many parents that want to do so much for their kid. They don't want their kid to go back to school the next year with the clothes that's too small, with the hand-me-down clothes, if we can help it. But sometimes that's how it has to be. Now, if you're in a position where you can help that person in your circle, then do it. It should go without saying. They in your circle. There's no reason why you shouldn't be helping them in these situations. But that's what I got, man. Because I could be out here all night about, helping out your folk, man. Checking on them. Making sure they good. You don't know how much that means to people. But y'all take it easy. Y'all stay blessed. Peace. Of being in a position where we financially can't do this, financially can't do that, because I chose to be a business owner. Don't get me wrong, if I was working 9 to 5, I'd probably still have the same issues, because the way things are nowadays, as a business owner, I'm able to ramp it up whenever, which is a blessing. But sometimes it's frustrating not working at 9 to 5 and not getting that consistent check that you would get working at 9 to 5. But I say all this to say, it gets to be frustrating for parents when they see that their kids are growing or getting to be as tall as them and not taller. And all you can do is look back at the memories and go like, oh man, I got this memory, I got that memory. But you know what? I wish I could have did this. I wish I was able to do that. So what I got to say is, man, if you got anybody in your circle who's a parent, be sure to ask them often how they're doing, how they're feeling, how's their mental. Because it's a lot to deal with. Like, while some kids are homeschooled, majority of people's children are in public schools. That right there puts a lot at mind when dealing with that.
Thank you for listening to Lawn Dude on Earth. We talk about all kinds of things here. The good stuff, the tough stuff, and everything in between. If you like the show, please give us a 5-star review. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Thanks for tuning in, and have a blessed day.